Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier, Wonka, Mike's Instant Movie Review. Yes, it's dark and scary in the car as I'm doing the review because it is instant, okay, and it is Mike. So, first off, should you see this movie? Should you not? I think you should. Now, if you have not seen the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? If you haven't seen that one, I think you should probably see that one. I'd be surprised if you haven't, but there might be some younger folks out there that have never seen it. When I was a child, when I was younger, the original, classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or Charlie, I should say, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That was the name of the book. I always get this shit confused because the book was titled Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The first movie I do think was still the Gene Wilder one from, I believe, the mid 70s or the early 1970s. That was titled Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And then they fucked the whole thing up when they made the Johnny Depp version. I'll get to that in a minute. Willy Wonka and the fucking Chocolate Factory. They changed the title. They made Willy fucking Wonka the lead character, and Charlie was kind of diminished a bit. This one is a prequel. We have no Charlie. We have no four grandparents sleeping in the same bed. We have no golden ticket prize, but there's references and seeds are planted. So now we'll get on with it. I think you should see this movie if you liked the original. If, like me, you did not like the Johnny Depp version. No offense to Johnny Depp. It was just a really bad thing there. But this one, I think, is a nice prequel. And I was lovingly surprised that it was, in fact, a prequel rather than a remake. Because I had seen the trailer for this thing once or twice. It didn't register with me too much. The biggest thing was basically, okay, they took the pretty boy of the moment, Timothy Chalamet. All the teenage girls are going to be wetting their diapers about him. And they basically took Hugh Grant. I was a tad offended that they took Hugh Grant and made him in the singular Oompa Loompa, as opposed to a real life little person. Having listened to my buddy there, Dylan Hornswoggle, and his complaints about the whole Snow White incident and the 7 non-dwarfs incident, I can tell you that I'm kind of vested in this. We can no longer cast people that are size appropriate for roles, I guess, because it's offensive. So it's offensive if you cast people, and I guess it's offensive if you don't. Now, I hate to bring this up, but I will, just because in my lifetime I've seen changes, folks, like Rocky after fighting the fucking Russian in Rocky 4. This is what you might call a multicultural cast. Now, the definition of multicultural cast in Wonka is more black people than usual, okay? So there's really no, from my memory, not a lot of Asian folks being represented or other distinct ethnicities. I mean, how could you tell if a French person was in this movie as opposed to an Irish, or who the fuck would care? But there are more people of color in this movie, which is great and fine. And I only mention that because if, just by memory, because I didn't go out and watch the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, but just thinking of movies like that and 20 or 30 years before The Wizard of Oz and stuff like that, there was not a lot of representation, okay? So we've evolved a bit. However, it does seem like the evolvement kind of stops with one group being kind of promoted and other groups. Like I said, I don't see a whole lot of Asian Americans in this movie, Wonka, but maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. There was Caucasian Caucasian actors in this movie. How about that for a joke? Anyway, folks, I just say that some folks, probably younger people than me, could watch this movie and that wouldn't even occur to them. But I've been around long enough where these things have been debated and dissected and analyzed. And, people like, I don't know who the fuck else, but they're going to talk about this stuff. So I guess I have to throw it in the mix because maybe I watched too many goddamn YouTube videos about this shit where people talk about these things. And is this post-woke or not woke enough or too woke? In any event, look, there's two ways to look at this movie, or there's more than two ways. Having just enjoyed the movie, I could say, hey, I think it was really smart. Once the movie started and Shayla May starts singing, I didn't realize that this was going to be somewhat of a musical, not an annoying, tap dance musical, but songs, a lot of singing. A lot of that's handled by Chalamet. Um, I forgot that it was a prequel. That's a real smart move. Because the thing that killed Johnny Depp in his version, not that it's his fault, but he was the actor in it, and I don't know if that was fucking Tim Burton who directed or whoever the fuck else, but you can't outdo Wilder as fucking the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, okay? So when Johnny Depp came along, and I remember watching that movie and thinking, is he doing a Michael Jackson impersonation? Like, the costume and just the disposition and everything, it felt like this weird, somewhat creepy or in very fucking creepy tribute or homage to the personae that we had learned about like in the 1990s of Michael Jackson, what we thought the Neverland Ranch was like. And it was creepy, it was uncomfortable, it wasn't entertaining in my opinion. I think you'd have to be a real Johnny Depp finger-banging apologist to enjoy that Johnny Depp version of the film, which I've only seen once, or the version of the story. So I think that left a bad residue in everyone's mouth, and now here we are a generation later trying this pony again, and I think the smart move, folks, is you cast a guy in Chalamet who's a fan favorite. He's a pretty boy. Everybody loves him. You know what I mean? And basically, he's not doing the same material that Gene Wilder did so successfully. He's doing new material, and he's playing the character at a younger age. I mean, if we say that Gene Wilder's character was just, say, arbitrarily 45, and we say that the character in this one, in Wonka, is, let's just say, 30, then it's a lot more believable, because he kind of comes into this new town, he's wide-eyed, he's naive, he's trusting of all these weirdos. And we can see that through these adventures that he experiences in Wonka, if we do a, cut to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, say 15 years later, it makes sense. Because the high cost of doing business with against the chocolate cartel and all these things would have jaded our guy, Willy Wonka. And that's when you would have the eccentric, neurotic, but still good-hearted Gene Wilder version. Eccentric. So I feel like Chalamet kind of holding his cards to his chest, whoever directed this thing, if they put the thought into it like I think they did, because obviously the movie's here, I'm not creating this stuff, they did, then I think they did a nice job, because they show the character, they scale it back, rather than like Johnny fucking Depp, and if it was Tim Burton directing, oh, we have to make it edgier, or oh, we have to make it creepier, or oh, we have to make it weirder. And instead of doing all that goddamned horse shit, they made a prequel, and it's like, well, here's Willie before he's all fucked up and eccentric. Like, here's him kind of nice and a pretty boy and missing his dead mother, which is always a crowd favorite thing. Just throw a dead mother in the movie and you get instant sympathy. It's like a save the cat. Kill the mom. Save the cat. Blake Snyder, rest in peace. So we move forth. If you didn't catch all that goddamn illusions, it's a book, Save the Cat by Blake Snyder. It's about screenwriting. And if you have a character in a movie that's like a central character and he or she is not particularly likable, what you have them do is you have them save a cat from a tree early in the movie. Or there's a Clint Eastwood movie where he saves like a baby calf from drowning. Or you just have the character do some type of nice thing for an animal or a child or whatever the fuck, okay? So in this one, to make Wonka palatable, you have him mourning his dead mother for the whole fucking movie. Now, the dark side of me, and I mean, there's some elements in this movie here, folks, that are kind of like, this is where this, is it woke? Is it just storytelling? I don't know any fucking more. It kind of feels like a white slavery or a fucking just slavery in general. These creepy hotel people have you sign your life away, which was some type of commentary on but they're like enlisting human slaves. Then you have a fucking police beating scene where, like, Willy Wonka is standing in for George Floyd all of a sudden. He's getting drowned in a public fucking fountain. He's getting bonked on the head with a fucking barrette or a fucking nightstick or whatever the fuck. All these timely topics, folks. And if I really wanted to get into the recesses of my own brain, I have to question, I mean, I'm trying to be a nice guy here, but is Willy Wonka kind of grooming this young girl Noodle? I mean, like, how old's Noodle supposed to be? That's his little friend in the movie. They don't have a kissing scene or anything. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things that aren't there, but I'm probably not. It does feel a little bit of like grooming activity. No offense, Willie. But I mean, what the fuck can you do, right? I mean, it's like, but I think that's part of like Chalamet, although I'm thinking he's like 30 years old. Maybe he's not. He looks like a teenager in a lot of ways. So I think his youthful look kind of makes he doesn't feel like an older friend or an uncle type to this Noodle. It kind of feels like, there are a couple, it's like the guy in college who's trying to pick up the high school girls or whatever the fuck. It feels a little bit creepy to me, but maybe to you didn't mind. Who the fuck knows? I mean, maybe that's your problem, viewer. So I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a tinge of grooming, perhaps, but who knows? And I don't recall this Noodle character in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing. I think this is another add a character, add a storyline type of thing. And then we have our good old-fashioned white savior shit. Like, I'm telling you, I watch too many of these goddamn YouTube videos where people deconstruct the movies and they find agendas, and now they're all floating around in my precious little brain. So, of course, fucking Willy Wonka has to reunite the orphaned child with her mother who thought she was dead. Of course, we have to have that shoehorned into the movie. The white savior fucking Willy Wonka, whatever the fuck. He's got to reunite families of color who've never met each other because he's Willy fucking Wonka. He makes chocolate and he's fucking Maury Povich at the same time. So whatever the fuck. But in any event, I liked the goddamn movie. Despite these things, I don't think this is gonna, I mean, it might be. I mean, people just like to argue now. I mean, the fucking Barbie came out last summer. People want to argue about that. Will they find some shit in this to argue about? I'm sure they will. But I enjoyed it. So for all the whatever the fucks aside, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. Chalamet or Timothy, I mean, he's like the guy now. He's the actor that all the young girls are fucking getting the Teen Beat magazines, their Tiger Beat magazines, whatever the fuck they do now. They're all excited for this guy, which is fine. But I thought the movie was good. I'm trying to think, if I were to play, Monday morning casting director, no offense, but the actor who played the comedian, like there's the white slavery, I don't say white slavery, it's black slavery too, but the human slaves that are captured into this hotel hell here. If you ever saw the movie Motel Hell, that's a good one. But these poor people, which I thought there might have been one or two too many of them, they didn't do much for me. But the guy that played the comedian, I thought that character could have been a lot more fun and eccentric. Like if you had a Louis fucking Anderson in that, I think Louis has passed on. I would be good in that fucking role. Okay. God, what if he had Farley in that fucking role? And I'm not the biggest Chris Farley fan, but if you had Chris Farley alive, it wouldn't be good if you had him now, because that would be kind of creepy, just like a fucking skeleton in the middle of a movie. But if you had a living, breathing Chris Farley transported in time into this movie as the comedian, or God forbid, for those of you that know John fucking Belushi, okay, why am I only casting dead people? I don't know. I think I could do that fucking role. Oh, Kevin Sweeney, did he die too? Is he still dead? Who is the You Go Now, the Chinese buffet comedian? I think that was Kevin Meaney. He would have been good. Like anybody, no offense, but the guy playing the comedian in this thing, he did not, look, he didn't have a lot of lines, and but I feel like if Robin fucking Williams would have been good. I just feel like a slip through the fingers, you know what I mean? Just, there really could have been some fun moments with that character to lighten the mood. I think if anything, this movie, with all the fucking challenges that Willie and Noodle are all overcoming, and the fucking Hugh Grant Hoompa Loompa, the orange-faced man, I think it's like we could have used a little bit more humor, and I think that character of the comedian guy could have been better cast, better served, but they maybe didn't let him play around. Maybe he had to stick to the script or whatever the fuck. Anyway, folks, that's your buddy Mike Messier. Am I right? Am I wrong? Who's to know? Sing a song. Mike Messier, I give Wonka a big thumb in the ass up. Good job, Chalamet and everybody else. Your buddy Mike Messier.